Spring is finally here in Japan, which means warmer weather, blooming flowers, and a few surprises you might not be expecting. So today, let's talk about what traveling Japan in spring is actually like, from the weather, to crowds, to seasonal events, and of course, what you really need to prepare for. Hi everyone, it's Abby from Pictour. I'm a photographer and guide in Japan, and if you're visiting Japan from March-ish to May-ish, or you're thinking about it, this is a video for you. So first, let's talk about cherry blossoms because I know that's what everyone is thinking about right now. So yes, cherry blossoms are beautiful. Yes, they are worth seeing at some point in your life. But no, they are not guaranteed. So bloom timing changes every year depending on the weather. Generally, Tokyo, Kyoto, Osaka bloom from late March to early April, but it can easily shift by several days. If you can see the prediction of when they'll bloom by Googling the cherry blossom or sakura forecast. But I'll note that most forecasts like this one provided by the JMC here shows the dates of when they will start to bloom. So when the trees start to bloom, just remember that that's not the level of blooming that you see in all of the photos. It's not till around at least like a week in, when maybe they reach 60 to 70% bloom, that they start really looking full and amazing. And then full bloom lasts only a few days, and they will gradually scatter from there, or maybe in unlucky years, rain or wind will like wipe them out really quick. If your trip lines up perfectly with the bloom, that's amazing. If it does not, don't panic. So for people who really want to see sakura, if you are here and you are too early, try heading south. If you're here and you're too late, try going north, because cherry blossoms might be blooming in these other regions. And yes, maybe you can even go so far as changing your hotel, but maybe for you that's worth it. But also, spring in Japan is still beautiful even without cherry blossoms. There are plum blossoms earlier, around like mid-February in Kyoto, for example. There's fresh greenery later, and of course there's many different types of flowers everywhere. One thing that is absolutely guaranteed, however, is crowds. So especially during cherry blossom season, popular spots are going to become extremely crowded. Think like shoulder to shoulder in places like Una Park, Philosopher's Path. And if crowds stress you out, aim for early mornings, weekdays, or less famous locations. Seriously, cherry blossoms are everywhere in Japan. Like they're literally everywhere. You don't need to go to Tokyo or Kyoto or Osaka to see them. That's not to say that I don't love the beautiful scenery in, say, Kyoto with cherry blossoms and shrines, but going out to the countryside, cherry blossoms lining the riverside, that is a very special place in my heart as well. Cherry blossoms everywhere. Now let's talk about what spring in Japan actually feels like, because this is something that I think surprises a lot of people, even the ones that think they're prepared. So Japan spring has a very distinct vibe. It's very mild, feels pretty fresh, and it's comfortable, I think, but it's also very changeable. So sometimes one day will feel like early summer and the next will feel like winter is back to get revenge. So I actually do have some articles on my blog about what I recommend wearing during spring, which can hopefully give you some ideas. Just to get started, I generally recommend layers, and there's two main reasons why. So first, one thing many people don't expect is how big the temperature swings are within a single day, everywhere in the country for the most part. So I often leave my house chilly in the morning. I am sweating by noon, and then I need a light jacket or cardigan or so again in the evening. And until mid to late April or so, that's pretty normal for me. Obviously, if you're from somewhere cold, you're not gonna have as much of an issue. So don't be in the comments like, oh, I was in t-shirts. Everyone's different, but if you are not used to being in a cold environment, spring here is still pretty brisk. So Kyoto in March is maybe 13 to 16 in the day, and then 3 to 5 at night. So I'm not wearing my t-shirt in 5-degree weather. I don't know about you, but April will warm up past that until May is highs of 22 to 24 in the day and a comfortable 12 to 14 at night. So a bit like a London summer. And then northern regions like Hokkaido, parts of Tohoku are usually a good 10 degrees cooler in spring, and snow can absolutely still be around in March and even April in some places. Cherry blossoms bloom later there, typically late April compared to Tokyo's mid to late March. Ski season also ends in April up there, so you know it's colder. Okay, the second reason for layering is that indoor heating and cooling is another thing to be aware of. In early spring, many buildings are still blasting heat like it's winter. And then suddenly, In late spring, they will switch to air conditioning. So once again, you'll experience that classic Japan situation of being like comfortable indoors and outdoors in completely different opposite ways. In summary, what clothes we need to pack. Pack some long sleeve tops or light sweaters for when it gets brisk. I also think a light coat for March and early April is good to have. Heat tech is still useful in early spring, especially in March. The basic kind of thin layer works really well, even under kimonos. Comfortable shoes that can withstand some rain are good because spring means, of course, lots of walking and occasional rain. Bring a compact umbrella or just buy one here. You might think also that, oh, it's okay, I'll just wear a raincoat, but maybe let's not use public transportation or get in a taxi soaking wet. So umbrellas are the standard here. Humidity-wise, spring is actually one of the most comfortable seasons in Japan. My skin craves it. It's drier than summer, which is just super duper humid, but it's not as aggressively dry as winter, which is very, very dry. That said, pollen season is a real thing. So if you have allergies, here the big two are cedar and Japanese cypress. You might struggle a bit, especially from February through April. Masks are extremely common in spring, and yes, they help with pollen too, not just germs. They also help with the yellow sand that flies over from China. If you are prone to allergies, bring allergy medication from home if possible, if you're used to it. And obviously this won't apply to everyone, but actually I rarely, if ever, dealt with seasonal allergies back in the States. But here I feel spring. So spring days get noticeably longer, especially by April and May, finally. Sunset will move closer to 6:30 or even 7, depending on where you are, which is great for sightseeing. Yay, yay! Some temples and gardens also extend their hours compared to winter, especially during cherry blossom season, when they often have kind of like light up events at night sometimes. That said, seasonal hours still apply, so always double check official websites. Many places will still close at like 4:30 p.m., which in winter is like, okay, well, it's almost dark, I get it. But when the sun doesn't set till 6:30 or 7, 4:30 p.m. feels incredibly early. So just make sure that you check the hours of everything beforehand. Now let's talk about spring events and holidays because this can heavily affect your trip. First, cherry blossom season itself. Hanami, or flower viewing, is a huge cultural event. Parks will fill up with people eating, drinking, and socializing under the trees. It is lively, it is festive, and it's very Japanese. There will be people everywhere because hanami is something everyone from families to office workers to college students enjoy. And fun fact, the Japanese fiscal year and the school year starts in April. So hanami is a great opportunity for people to connect and bond. And at the same time, April is a nervous month. You got new places that you're going, new people you're meeting, and new commuting routes, and it's a bit chaotic, perhaps, for Japanese people. Next up is Golden Week. You've probably heard of Golden Week, and this is a very big thing that you should know about. This happens from late April to early May, and it's a cluster of national holidays. And in 2026, it is April 29th to May 6th, or for some people, all the way until May 10th. During Golden Week, domestic travel explodes. Like, this is the travel week, pretty much, for Japanese people outside of, like, the New Year. Trains, hotels, tourist spots, theme parks, super crowded. And if you're traveling during Golden Week, you must book accommodation and Shinkansen seats early. Also expect everything to be a little more expensive as well because everyone in the country is going places. So outside of Golden Week, spring is still busy, but it's manageable if you plan smartly. Next, let's talk briefly about spring food because seasonal food is a huge part of traveling Japan. Spring means lighter, fresher flavors. So you'll start seeing seasonal vegetables like bamboo shoots, spring greens, and mountain vegetables appear on menus. Strawberries are still amazing in early spring, and spring desserts are everywhere. So you also have sakura flavored items, which appear for a limited time. You have sakura mochi, sakura lattes, and some of these sakura sweets are great. Some are interesting, but trying them is part of the fun. My two favorites are the sakura Kit Kats, which are literally just... And then sakura mochi, which is, of course, a sakura mochi wrapped in a sakura leaf to really just drive the theme home. Convenience stores are also going to fully lean into spring with limited edition snacks and drinks, as will most like chain restaurants. Finally, let's talk about what makes spring in Japan special. So cherry blossoms are the obvious one, but they're not the only reason to visit. Spring weather is ideal for walking, especially in cities like Kyoto and Tokyo, where you will probably be walking a lot. Gardens will look incredible. Riversides will become very, very social spaces, and outdoor cafes start to finally feel alive again. And spring in Japan embodies this concept of mono no aware, which is the beauty of impermanence. Cherry blossoms peak for just mere days before falling, making the moment feel very special. It's also one of the best seasons for photography, if you can choose the right timing and angles. Soft light, fresh colors, long days make everything a bit easier. Yes, spring in Japan is beautiful. It is busy. It's a little bit unpredictable and sometimes it's chaotic, but with the right expectations and preparation, it's also one of the most rewarding times to visit. If you found this video helpful, please leave a like and consider subscribing. It really does help us out. I have quite a few more Japan travel guides on the channel, and you can also check out my website for our tours and our timeline, which will help you plan your trip, and it's totally free to check that out. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.